Okay, now let's go to our next lesson, which is going to be, I mean, not really next lesson. I'm going to repeat or reinforce more the writing part one. So I'm gonna give you an example since this is going to be also your homework. You have it here. Okay. So as you can see here, this is the part one, and you already did this one before. Okay. So it's a chat. So it's very short, that one. And can someone tell me for how many minutes can you do this one? Let me ask Angela.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. How many minutes can you do the part one?
Mm, Only a few minutes. I don't know.
No idea?
I don't know.
All right. You can only write it for 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
So if I were you, every time I give you homework with a part one, I will always time myself so that I will be able to get used to it. Okay? So that way, I don't need to have a problem in writing as fast as I can because I started timing myself. So that means I'm not going to be over pressured if it's already the time of my exam. So yeah, you can write there 10 minutes so that you will always remember that it's 10 minutes for part one. So the first writing, it's fine if you didn't time yourself since it's just the first time. But next meeting, since I'm gonna give you a homework tonight, I want you to time yourself with 10 minutes. It's for your own good and it's for you to be more prepared. And how many words can you write in each question, Laura? Laura 1.
Okay. Between 30 or 40 words.
Perfect. You have it here, 30 to 40 words. And if you are more than that, I tell you that it's going to be also an error for you. There will be like slight score deduction if you are not following instruction. So don't write more than that if the instruction is only until 40 words, okay? 30 to 40 words. Because exam, this part of exam tests your ability to I think you're also going to know how many words you wrote already. I think for the computer, they're going to put there how many words so that you don't need to be counting all the time. And this part is testing your ability on how much you can write in a very simple topic, and also how much you can elaborate a topic that you don't know. Because as you can see, the questions here are expecting that you know these kind of topics. If you can remember the homework, it's talking about history, that you are joining a club that is a history club. And what if you don't like history? What am I going to do? Don't say that honestly I don't know about history, etc. Because this exam is testing your ability to act on someone else's shoe. So it means that you need to act as if you know history, because in that way they will say that you can really explain different kinds of contents. And if they see that you have this like this manner of writing that you write just for the compliance of writing, then they will really know that. Because if you write like you know history, then even if you don't, then that's a good plus for you, especially for this part. So this is what they are testing for you. Okay, so let's read this one for you to have an idea. Laura 2, can you please read the answer of the first question?
Yes. My country is famously good at sport that involve sitting down. The English are great at rowing, cycling, and horse riding. We are all incredible lazy, clearly. Lots of people play football recreationally, but that happens in most countries.
Okay, this one is sitting down, okay?
Okay.
And incredibly and recreationally. All right, perfect. So, yeah, as you can see here, it's like you can feel how the informality, of course, because this part should be informal, but also you can feel the knowledge that this person got, and also like the excitement in writing this one. Okay, so you can write that clearly, something like that. So it's like expressing excitement. Okay, next one. Second question. Let me ask Lorena.
The question, or the answer?
The answer, please.
Okay, my favorite sport person is Helen Glover. She's won 2 gold medals for rowing in the Olympics, and she is the reason I started rowing when I was 16. Now she is a coach. I desperately want her to coach me.
Okay, to coach me.
The letter
Right?
is B.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
That's true. That's true. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Now, Pepe.
I'm really sorry. In my in my point of view, it was fine. I forgot about you guys. I'm really sorry. Okay. Thank you, Lorena. Okay, so here, and this is one thing that I want to comment about. When you write the word favorite, okay, most of you maybe you're going to write in this way, and that's also correct. But this is American English, all right? But you are taking a British English exam. So always remember that your mind should be a British person or a British speaking person. So that's why this is also one of the deduction, because we are thinking in an American English. Okay, so it's not incorrect, but since you are taking British exam, so you need to follow the British structure. Okay, thank you. Let's continue with Michelle. Let me ask Maria.
Okay. I love sport because I love to be outside. I like sports that you can do independently because you can be more flexible with your training. I love rowing because I can be outside on my own in the quiet.
Perfect, in the quiet. Okay, so that's it. It's like simple question, but the answers are a little bit more advanced. Okay. Okay, so for the homework, it's going to be this one, but of course on your own answers. Okay, and as I told you, please time yourselves in 10 minutes. And as you can see here, this is the overall one, but that's just for the next meeting, because we are going to tackle the test 2 for next week, and then the next week would be test 3. Okay, now we are going to do some sentence structure class, because maybe you are very familiar with the conjunctions, the connectors, but what's the difference between the two of them? Because for example, if I use the word moreover, should I write a comma after? Should I write a semicolon, etc.? Since we are in the writing, so this is going to be the part or that we are going to talk about. Okay. Just a second. I need to erase this one. Oops. This was from the last class, so I forgot to delete it because our classes are just so together. All right. So it's a little bit long, but I'm gonna skipping some of them because I know that you already know some of this one. So don't worry. Also for the PowerPoint, everything is going to be on Google Classroom. Okay, so we're going to talk about sentence structures because especially for part 2 and part 3, since this is advanced, the usage of simple sentences should be avoided, because as you can see, as to what I showed you before, that you are able to write in a complex structure. So it could be compound structure, or complex structure. So now we are going to talk about that again, because maybe you know this one, but maybe some years ago when you were young. Okay, well, everyone's still young, okay? I'm not saying that but all right. So let's continue. There are 4 types of sentence structures. We have simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. So the basic elements of every sentence, is that there is subject and there is a predicate. And I am going to give a very simple example so that everything is going to be clear. So for example, subject, Mary, predicate, plays tennis, even though I don't play tennis, okay? So let's continue. So when we are talking about simple sentence, there is one subject and one predicate. For example, we went to yesterday. So we is the subject and the rest is a predicate. So here, Mary is the subject and plays tennis is the predicate. Now we have 2 subjects. This is where we are confused sometimes because there are 2 subjects now. Can we say it's compound? No. We can only say that it's compound subject and not compound sentence. But the sentence is still simple because there is only there are 2 subjects, but there is only one predicate and they are together. And here you can also have 2 predicates, but if they're also together and they are linked with a word and, as you can see, 2 ends here. And this is a simple sentence, only that it contains compound subject and compound predicate. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Tom and Mary plays tennis and swim. But for example, I say Tom plays tennis and Mary swims. That is already compound. We will go there now. So when we are saying compound sentence, it means that there are 2 clauses, and these clauses are all independent. Can someone tell me what's the meaning of independent clause? Ivan?
Sorry, what?
What is the meaning of independent clause?
I don't know what is clause.
Clause is like phrase. A phrase.
There are two phrases with different. I don't know.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, anyone who can help Ivan, who knows what independent clause is, or dependent? What's the difference between the 2 of them? Let's say Sarah.
Sorry, can you repeat?
What's the difference between independent and dependent clause?
Sorry, I can't attempt correctly because my sons are here and I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Don't worry. Okay, anyway. So, look guys, if I go back here, this is a sentence, right? Because this is simple. If I go in this part, this is one clause. We went to San Juan, and this is another clause. Most of us danced all night. When we are talking about clause, it's like a part of a sentence. Okay, and we can only say that there is a clause or a phrase if there are more than one. So for example, in simple sentence, that's only a sentence because it's complete. It's only that. And there is no addition. But in compound, we have 2. We went to San Juan and most of us danced all night. So we went to San Juan is one clause. Most of us danced all night is one clause. And when we say independent, it means it can stand alone. So for example, you have a subject here, you have a predicate here, and that means that it can stand alone. And for example, if I will only say this, this one, we went to San Juan. Does it make sense? Yes, there's a sense. And if I only say most of us danced alone, I danced all night, then makes sense. Even if the other clause is not around, the other clause makes sense. So That's why they are independent clauses. And when we are saying compound sentence, there are two clauses that are independent, which are sentences who can stand alone. And how do we connect these two clauses? By using coordinating conjunctions. It is a type of connector, conjunctive adverbs, and a semicolon. Or semicolon. So between the three of them are possible. Or sometimes we can use the three of them or one of them. And I'm going to show you the difference. So yeah, that's what I said. Subject, verb, prepositional phrase. So this is one complete sentence if I remove this. And it is stand alone. And coordinating conjunction, and. Okay? That's it. That's it. Okay, Lorena. Okay, so look, these are the coordinating conjunctions that we use to connect the phrases. Remember that it's very easy to remember this one. Just remember, fun boys. And this is what we call coordinating conjunctions. And we use this only if the sentence is compound. And when can we say that the phrase is part of the compound? If the phrase is independent. Okay? So remember, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. You can take a picture if you want, because later you will have an activity so that later it's easier for us to start and we will not waste time. You can take a picture. And we continue. Okay, so compound sentences, coordinating conjunction. Tom swims and Mary plays tennis. So as you can see, this is the fun boys, the coordinating conjunctions. And Tom swims without and Mary plays tennis. It does make sense. It has a verb, it has it has subject, it has a predicate. And the same with Mary plays tennis. And remember that there's a comma before and in compound sentences. So even if it's complex, sometimes because there are like more than two sentences, when do we know if we need the comma? If it's independent. So for example, Tom swims is independent. So I put comma. Okay? Of course, before the coordinating conjunctions, we don't just put whenever I want. Okay? And another way to connect these two phrases of compound sentences is to use the conjunctive adverbs. You can also take a picture of this one. There are still more actually, but these are the most common used conjunctive adverbs. Later, I'm going to give you another copy. So you have moreover, however, otherwise, therefore. So look, here we are using the conjunctive adverbs. And if we are using conjunctive adverbs, we need here the semicolon and a comma after the conjunctive adverbs. So for example, Bob is handsome, moreover, he is rich. Okay, so sometimes we write without this one, and that's not a formal writing. Okay, so that's why I am telling you this, so that in your next writing it would be better. So Bob is handsome, here is independent. He is rich is also independent. And we have two clauses that are independent to each other. So note, as what I told you, semicolon before conjunctive adverb and comma after conjunctive adverb. So sometimes we call these conjunctive adverbs as float or floating, because we can put this at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of a clause. So for example, Bob is handsome, semicolon, moreover, comma, he is rich. Bob is handsome, he is, moreover, rich. Bob is handsome, he is rich, moreover. But the third part is not very common. So the first part would be most recommendable among the three. So the semicolons, we will go to the semicolons because as you can remember, there are three things that we can connect the two phrases of compound. We have first the coordinating conjunctions, the fun boys, And the second one was the conjunctive adverbs. And the third one is a semicolon only, without any word, only semicolon. But only if the relation between the ideas expressed in the main clauses is very close and obvious without a conjunction. And you can separate the clauses with a semicolon. For example, Tom has benefited from his exercise program, semicolon, he is slim and energetic. So it's something like that. If I will use so, Tom has benefited from his exercise program, I put comma, then so, he is slim and energetic. Okay? Now we go to complex sentence. So when we say complex sentence, there will be two clauses again, but this time one independent and one dependent. So remember, compound is two phrases with two independent phrases. With a complex, you have two phrases, one independent, one dependent. And how do we connect these two phrases? By using subordinating conjunctions. So remember, the other one, we have three. With the compound, we have the coordinating, we have the adverbs, and we have the semicolon. And in the complex, we have subordinating. So for example, since my boyfriend and I wanted to have fun, we went to San Juan yesterday. Okay, let me ask Lorena, where do you think is the independent clause?
Lorena is not here.
She's not here anymore. I thought that later. Anyway, let me call Angela.
The independence or the dependence?
Dependent.
Dependent.
Where is the dependent?
Since my boyfriend and I wanted to have fun.
Perfect. Okay, you will directly know because of this, the subordinating conjunction. Because for example, if I will remove we went to San Juan yesterday, doesn't make sense after all. And if I will only read we went to San Juan yesterday, it can stand alone. And remember that if the subordinating conjunction is at the beginning, that means that after that first clause, there should be a comma. And that can give you a hint where the independent clause is. So yeah, this is the graph. So also with the word even though, it's also another subordinating conjunction. So you have subject, predicate, and this is one clause, this is one clause. The same with this one, Bob is popular even though he is ugly. Where is the independent clause here? Ivan.
Bob is popular.
Perfect. Because even though he is ugly here is the dependent one. So as you can see here, it's more difficult because we don't have the comma and we don't know where even though comes with. But even though is saying due to the fact that, and what is the fact that this person is saying? The ugliness of Bob. Okay, so directly you know that this is the dependent. Okay, now I want you to take a photo of this again, because these are some of the subordinating conjunctions that we use for the complex sentence. And remember, we use this only for complex sentences. So when do we use subordinating conjunctions? So if there are two phrases, which the first phrase is independent and the second phrase is dependent. If both phrases are independent, then these are not possible to be used. You have the other parts. Okay, let's continue. So Bob is popular even though he's ugly. So as you can see here, I can also put even though at the beginning. And here I need a comma. And here I don't need a comma because I already put first the independent. So even though Bob is ugly, comma, he's popular. Now we go to compound complex sentence. You need to remember now the two types of I mean the conjunctions that we use from the compound and the conjunctions that we use from the complex. So you have here in a compound complex sentence, there are 3 or more than 3 phrases or clauses. At least if you have 3 clauses, the 2 clauses should be independent and the third clause should be dependent. Okay, so there should be more independent rather than dependent. And conjunctions link the different parts of this sentence. So which kind of conjunctions? Well, the conjunctions that we learn from compound and complex. But remember, if it's complex, so if you can see the dependent, we use the subordinating. And if you can see a compound which is independent, we use it's either the one with the semicolon or the conjunctive adverbs, or the other one coordinating conjunctions, the one with fanboys. Okay, for example, since we wanted to have fun, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan yesterday and we danced all night. Okay, Natalia, can you please tell me, this is one clause, two clause, or third clause rather. And can you tell me what kind of sentence does each clause is?
Since we wanted to have fun is the dependent. My boyfriend and I went to San Juan yesterday independent. And we danced all night dependent.
Perfect. So if you are very knowledgeable with like feeling if this can stand alone, better. But if you are more into the conjunctions, you will also directly know, because we have the since. So if one of the phrases is dependent, that means that this phrase belongs to the complex, because it's only complex that contains one dependent, but compound contains 2 independent. So the rest of them are independent, and the reason for that one is because of and. As you can see here, the connection between the 2 of them is and and belongs to the fanboys, the coordinating conjunction, and that is for compound only. Okay, perfect. So this is also the graph. The same with this one. Mike is popular because he is good looking. This is a dependent, but he is not very happy. But here is part of the coordinating conjunction, which is in the compound. And compound means that this part is independent. Now we will have some exercises, guys. So you have here like very easy part, but what I want you to do is also to encircle the conjunctions that is used and tell me what kind of conjunction: coordinating, subordinating, etc. Okay, I'll give you time to answer, and if you are done, please let me know. Have you finished? Should we start, guys? Have you finished?
Yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. Let's start with number 1, the easiest one. Let's have Laura 1.
The bell rang.
What kind of sentence is this? Simple, compound, or compound complex?
Simple.
Simple. Perfect. This is simple and oops. Exactly. How about number 2? Let's have Laura 2.
Brigitte ran the first part of the race and Tara biked the second part.
Okay.
Is compound.
Compound. And can you please tell me why?
Because it coordinating conjunction and
okay. Coordinating conjunction. Perfect. So if it's compound, it means that these two phrases are independent. Perfect. Next one, number 3, Maria.
Okay. He stands at the bottom of the cliff while the climber moves up the rock. Is complex.
Perfect. This is complex, and can you please tell me why?
Because it's a subordination conjunction. While
Subordinating conjunction.
subordinating complexion.
Perfect.
Why?
So you have here, yeah, exactly. So can you tell me where is the independent and where is the dependent?
The independent is he stands at the bottom of the cliff.
Perfect.
And dependent is climber moves up the rock.
The climber.
The climber, sorry.
Okay. Don't worry. All right, so that's the dependent. Exactly. All right, number 4, Sarah. Sarah?
Sorry.
Don't
The
worry.
skier turned and jumped. I think is complex.
Complex, and why do you think so?
Because the conjunction and.
The conjunction.
Yes. Compound.
All right.
Compound. Not complex. Sorry. Compound.
Compound.
Yes.
All right. Because of the end, right?
Yeah.
All right. Here, this should be simple. I will explain why. So you have the skier, that is the subject. Turned and jumped, that these are the verbs. And as you can see, there is only one clause. The skier turned and jumped because the doer of these two is just one person. So we only have one clause here. Okay, what if I say the skier turned and the person jumped? That's compound. If I say me and my friend turned and jumped, that's simple because they are just together. Okay? Because if you like separate two verbs only, the same, it's just simple. Okay? All right. let's continue. Number 5, Natalia.
Compound complex.
Perfect. And why?
Naoki passed the test. Independence.
Independent.
Independent because he studied hard. Dependent and understood the material. Independent.
You said Naoki is independent, right?
Independent, yes.
Perfect. Exactly. So how about this one? How do you call the conjunction that was used?
What?
How do you call this conjunction since we are using compound complex?
Subordinating conjunction.
Perfect. Okay. And then the end here is the coordinating.
Yes, I
So
have
that's
here a doubt because why in here there is no a comma before the end?
before the end. He studied hard because look, this is because he studied hard is complex, and this is independent or dependent.
Dependent.
So we don't put a comma. We can only
Okay.
put a comma if it's an independent clause and if it's in the compound. Even if it's not in the compound, for example, if you have, let's say if this one is in here before, after the test, okay? Then I put comma after the test, okay? So if I say Naoki passed the test, comma, and understood the material because he studied hard. That's when I put the comma. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, guys. So that's it. Another one. Last one for the structure. Let me know when you are done. Okay, Laura. How about the others? Okay, Sarah. All right. All right, let's start now. Perfect. So I will call now. Was the last person that I called? I can't remember now. Natalia. The
Yes,
last
me.
one. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Angela. Can you please tell me what kind of structure this is and the conjunction that was used?
Okay, because Kyla has so much climbing experience, we asked her to lead our group. I think it's complex because it's the subordinating conjunction.
And where is the subordinating conjunction?
Yes. Because.
Perfect.
And
This is subordinating.
the independent phrase is we ask her to lead our group.
Perfect. This is the independent.
Yes.
And this is the dependent. Perfect. All right, thank you. Let's continue with number 2, Ivan.
Okay, you and I need piano lessons. I think it's simple.
This is simple. And what kind of subject?
There are 2 subjects.
And we call that compound subjects.
Compound.
Okay. So the compound here is only the subject, but the sentence is simple. All right.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
the same here that we have compound predicate. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Now let's continue with number 3, Laura 1.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
In the first phrase, you said to us that the dependent phrase was Kyla has so much climbing experience. But I don't understand why, because I think that Kyla has so much climbing experience has sense.
No, it should be also this because Kyla has so much climbing experience. You should include the because.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
The only thing that we don't include is if it's compound. For example, let's look for a compound here. This one. So we don't mention this one if we are also saying this one. Okay. But if it's complex, we include this, the conjunctions. All right. Everything's clear?
No. I don't know how to ask or how to say. For me, if I say we ask her to lead our group, this phrase has no sense.
This one is completely independent. For example, what are you doing? We asked her to lead our group, right? Look, we have the subject,
Yes,
we.
yes. Okay.
Predicate,
Okay.
this one. Yeah?
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, let's continue with number 3. Laura 1, yeah.
I planned to go to the hockey game, but I couldn't get tickets. Sorry. I think is compound.
Exactly.
And but is subordinating conjunctions.
Subordinating or coordinating?
Coordinating.
Coordinating.
Yes.
Okay, because coordinating is only for compound. Subordinating is for the complex, okay?
Yes.
This is coordinating conjunction. So that means that both of them are independent, okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So as you can see here, guys, I put a comma because this is compound, and as you can see, this clause is also independent. Okay, let's continue with number 4. Laura 2.
Dorothy likes whitewater rafting, but she also enjoys kayaking. I think it's compound, and but is the coordinating conjunction.
Perfect. All right. So both of them are also independent. And with a comma.
Sorry, I have a
Tell
question.
me. Yeah.
I thought it was complex because the word also, I think, is subordinated about the first sentence.
The conjunction that we use here is but, because this is what connects the first clause and the second clause. This one, the also, is not used to connect. Also here is only used to add information. But the word which connects the two is the word but. So that is what should we are focusing on. The connection, or the connector rather. Did I explain it well?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's continue with number 5. Lorena is here. Maria.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
There are many problems to solve before this program can be used, but engineers believe that they will be able to solve them soon. It's a compound sentence.
Okay, and why do you think so?
Because it has a coordinating conjunction, but
Conjunction
conjunction, but
and which? But, okay. And only this one?
Yes. That? No.
That, no.
No. I before, no.
And before, what is it?
It's a complex and compound.
Compound
Sentence.
complex sentence. Exactly.
Yes, compound complex. Yes.
And where is the independent and where is the dependent?
Independent is, but engineers believe that they will be able to solve them soon.
Okay.
That's independent, and there are many problems to solve, and this program can be used are dependent.
There are many problems to solve is independent.
Independent.
Okay.
And before this program can be used is dependent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Any questions here, guys? Okay, perfect. So now, well, later after the class, these are some, like most of the conjunctions that are used. So remember, you have here the subordinating conjunctions, and most of them are on the list, but not all. So I'm gonna give it later. And the conjunctive adverbs, which is used if we are talking about compounds, and also another coordinating conjunctions also with a compound. As you can see here, you have fanboys, and an additional for conjunctive adverbs, there are a lot, and subordinating conjunctions. Okay, so later I'm gonna send that on Google Classroom. Now we are going to finish the class with transitions. Oops, I again put the answers. All right, can you please close your eyes or don't look at the screen, please? I'm gonna erase it. Just a second. Okay, you can now look at the screen. I don't know if you look or not, but no. Okay, so now we have here some prepositions and connectors that we really, I mean, prepositions, though, connectors that we use to add information or to emphasize or to contrast or cause and effect. So I want you to group them according to their category, and you have at least 4 to 5 minutes to do this one. All right, so if you cannot see it, that's it. So emphasize, add information, contrast, cause and effect. So if we use it with emphasize, write it below the emphasize column. You can now start. All right, perfect. Okay, now we start answering for the emphasize. Where's my list? Okay, Sarah, can you please give me your answers for emphasize?
Okay, for instance, in
Perfect.
fact, certainly, for example.
For instance,
In fact,
okay, but first, for instance, do you think this is emphasize?
or cause and effect, I don't know well.
For instance, it's like for example, okay? So that is adding an information.
Oh,
Yeah, so for example, if I say, for example, so it's like to give an example. So it's an additional information, okay? For
okay.
instance. And what was the second one?
In fact,
In fact, that is emphasize. Exactly. What else?
certainly,
Exactly. Certainly. What else?
and no more.
No more. Okay. All right. So there are four, and I'm gonna help you. First, we have above all. It's like you talk a lot of things, but above all, the most important one is, so that's, you emphasize one out of all of those examples you gave. And you have most importantly, sorry, most importantly.
I haven't enough time to do all
Ah.
this is the problem.
Don't worry. Yeah, because I thought that most of you already finished, so we check. But
Okay.
it's fine. So
Okay.
here are the four words that we can use if you want to emphasize. There are still more, but this is only to categorize them. All right. Thank you, Sarah. Now let's go to Natalia. Can you give your answer for adding information, please?
Yes. Uh, Furthermore, moreover, for instance, for example, and I don't have enough time for add more.
Furthermore, moreover,
Moreover, for instance, for example,
for example, and
I don't put more because I can't finish.
okay, it's fine. So that's correct. You have for instance, you have furthermore, you have moreover, and for example. You have on the other hand. Other people say that this is contrast. And this is the mistake here. Because on the other hand, is not really to give a contrary to something. It's to give a different thing aside from the mentioned thing. So for example, I say, on the one hand, I have a paper. On the other hand, I have a pen. So it's like adding only. They are different, yes, but I am not saying it to give contrast between the two. I'm saying on the other hand because I have another thing aside from the former one. Okay? So on the other hand, for example, and you have additionally and in addition. All right. That's it for the adding information. Now let's go to Angela. Can you please give me your answer for contrast?
Okay. However,
In
contrast,
exactly.
nevertheless,
Nevertheless, yeah.
despite this,
Despite this,
even though,
yeah.
and on the contrary.
Perfect. You lack one. We have although.
Okay.
Right? And of course, the rest of them would be cause and effect. And we have consequently Otherwise, due to, and as a result. Okay, so this is like more or less sometimes people interchange the meaning. So it should be on the contrary, not on the other hand, if you want to express contrast. Okay, guys, any questions for this one? Nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I'm so happy that there were no any problems for sharing it, because I really got like more than 10 times sharing the screen in the previous class. It was horrible. Okay, so tonight I'm gonna give you another writing. Okay, the writing part 1. Remember to time yourselves for 10 minutes, and every question 30 to 40 words, and you have until Sunday to send it on the Google Classroom. All right, for me to correct it, and also for you to ask me the questions on Monday for the corrections that you think are questionable. Okay, so no questions before I hung up? Nothing. All right, guys, so thank you for being with me and being online today, and I hope you will have a good weekend, even though it's not yet weekend, and a good night. All right, see you on Monday, everyone, at 7:30. Take care. Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
See
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Take care.